Kwekwe, welcome to the September MPI Breaks. I'm joining you from my office. I know, not as exciting as my other videos, but exciting life update. I've been in an acting role for the last few weeks and loving the added responsibilities, loving seeing the different elements of the event world from the public service, but it has left me a bit busy, so apologies for the late breaks and for the lack of exciting environment. I am still on and very grateful to live, play, and grow professionally from the unceded lands of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people, a nation that has cared for this land since time immemorial, including the grounds and waters that nourish and nurture us all. I'm grateful for the privilege to live and work here. Before my discussion with Ryan Jacobson, Business Development Manager at Fredericton Convention Center, another reminder to get your table or tickets today for Prix Prestige 2025. Join us on October 1st at the Infinity Convention Center as we recognize the royal contributions of members in our community. This will prove to be an unforgettable night of excellence and celebration. Now for my discussion with Ryan. Welcome to this month's MPI Breaks. Ryan joined the Fredericton Convention Center team as Business Development Manager in summer of 2024. With a diverse background spanning government, the private sector, and entrepreneurship, all in Fredericton, Ryan is a partner you really want planning your event. He has also marked himself as a dedicated and key member of the MPI Ottawa chapter family of volunteers. On to my interview. Ryan,
Hey, Bruce. Thanks for having me.
I appreciate you joining me for the discussion, and hopefully you're good and recovered from the event.
I'm getting closer.
So, looking back on the event, I'll start by asking, how did the Fredericton Convention Center and the local community take the theme of creating exceptional events is in our nature and build that environment for the attendees?
That's a great question, and I'm glad that we're having this chat post the event because I've had some time to reflect. And one of the things that I heard over and over wasn't really, it was the word nature, and we intended it, I think, to be out in nature and to explore the nature that surrounds Fredericton. But what I heard over and over was the warm maritime hospitality, the warm welcome. We made people feel at home. We made the community made people feel welcome in the city. And we just kept saying that's just in our nature to make delegates, to make our hosts, to make our guests feel that way. And it really shifted the lens for me. I was like, well, that's our nature. Like this is part of our nature. But look, we did spend a lot of time outside of the Fredericton Convention Center and the other great venues that we had here. So we spent a lot of time actually in nature, whether it be nature walks through Odell Park, which is an urban old growth forest here in the city, walking the banks along the trail system that hug the Woolastook River, which is also known as the St. John River, crossing the south side of the river where the Fredericton Convention Center is located to offsite venues such as Pickeroons, it's a craft brewery, across the Billthorpe Walking Bridge, again, experiencing nature. There were a lot of really nice in nature elements, and I think the delegates really appreciated getting outside of the building and exploring Fredericton. I'll give you a very quick example. So on Saturday the 7th, as part of the event, there was a nature walk learning, and it was called From Forest to Backyard, a Step Through Sustainability. And that was led through the National Watershed Association here in Fredericton. And they led a walk from from the Fredericton Convention Center where I work, along the green spaces over to Pickeroons, which I just mentioned. They've got a pollinator garden over there. So people were able to experience that. And the nearby Carlton Park, which is a boat launch and picnic area here in the city, full of flora and fauna. So all kinds of different elements about nature, both physical and just being in our nature to provide memorable experiences.
Yeah, I like the way you both incorporate the concept of nature, and when we were discussing this topic, the concept of nature, both in the environment in the classic sense, but also in your approach in organizing the event. And it seems like that was really an intentional approach to have both of those angles.
It really was. And, this leads into your next question. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves,
No,
but
go ahead.
one of the things that we did here in terms of like memorable moments of the event was the warm welcome that people received right from the point of landing in Fredericton at our boutique airport, we call it. They were greeted by volunteers and staff from Rendezvous Fredericton team with signage, welcome to Fredericton. We had shuttle service provided. We had rented motor coaches, and we had, people with music hyped up, we had beverages on board, so people felt like they were having fun right from the get-go, and that they were made to feel important, that people remembered that they were coming to our city and coming to the
Mhm.
event. And that starts right from touching down at the airport. So we're getting a lot of feedback on that.
That's great. That's great. And I think you shared quite a few feedbacks and reactions. But are there any others that stood out to you based on what you've heard and about the environment?
Yeah, 1000%. And I'm going to single out three people really quickly. The three founders of the event, Tim Whalen and Mary France Watson and Ryan Young. And I just saw a recent interview on them, and I had a chance to speak to all three of them while they were here. To hear the three founding members of the event speak so highly of the little details that they noticed that were happening, either that were apparent or behind the scenes, they recognize the work that goes into this. And I heard themselves and countless other people say the bar has been raised, and
Yeah.
that they appreciated all the effort that we went through to ensure that their original concept of what the event should be remained intact with our own personal touches on top of that. So literally it's goosebump moments. We've been saying that, and I have them again right now. These respected leaders in our industry acknowledging, um, what we're able to pull off here in Fredericton means a great deal.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm glad it went off as well as it did, but like you said, it's definitely a bar raising experience, and you're also not helping the concept of FOMO is not a real thing because now I'm just like, oh my goodness, why did I accept that acting position? Anyways, so from
Yeah.
your perspective, what lessons when hosting the event in Fredericton can meeting and event planners take away when they're creating and creating their experiences?
Yeah, so the first thing that came to mind was leverage your strengths, and really, we really took a really hard look at what is Fredericton, what are our strengths, and we really leveraged that, and that went as far as when we talk about welcoming nature, we reached out to our local chamber of commerce, we reached out to our downtown Fredericton Incorporated, and we informed their constituents, their membership, that the event was coming to Fredericton. So prepare yourselves. So that was everything from you may want to increase your shifts. May want to increase your staffing. You may want to extend your hours. But also pay special attention to the delegates as they're coming in. They have a warm, welcoming nature anyway, but we explained what the event is, who the delegates were, the impact that this has on our community. Um, we had little, well, they're larger than postcard, but we had posters made up for the downtown merchants, and just to walk down our main streets in the downtown core and see those in the windows of these largely independent businesses, it meant a lot. So the delegates felt as they were strolling down the street to pick up a coffee or to do whatever they were doing, they just seeing reminders of MPI,
Mhm.
MPI Ottawa, the event, MPI International, the event plastered all over the windows. So they felt really important. So that's one. And the other thing was leveraging volunteers. We have a really strong volunteer base here in Fredericton. We had 37 registered volunteers. They were all very identifiable in orange shirts with, all branded with volunteer on the back. They were everywhere and very noticeable. They were engaging, they were helpful, they were sharing local information and knowledge. And I heard time and time again, and talking to people like, Kevin Kirby from MPI International, he said that this type of conference really, a lot of the success hinges on having volunteers in place. We just
Mhm.
can't travel. We just can't travel with enough staff to really pull this off. We really rely on the base. So I would say engage quickly, and also the other thing that we did, I think, that was very important was we wove the story amongst the volunteers, so they understood what the event was. They understood who the delegates were, and the impact, the importance of all of that. So they understood how they were feeding into the success of the conference itself.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's great advice for any meeting, event, conference of preparing your team and knowing your audience and making sure your volunteers also know your audience. Miigwech for your time, Ryan.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Et voilà. I hope they enjoyed the discussion. Wishing everyone a thoughtful Truth and Reconciliation Day on September 30th. I will certainly be honoring Orange Shirt Day. For those in our local chapter area, Nakatu Workshops will be hosting their third annual Truth and Reconciliation and Orange Shirt ceremony at the Diefenbunker at 3929 Carp Road. I'll see you there or see you next month where A is for accessibility. Bye, Mapi.